currency here, and I click OK. Now you can now see that this is it's just not not just ordinary number again, but what currency. This is £1,000, 111. So those are the types of data we'll be working with as we move on in this training. So I think we should be familiar with all those numbers before, but how to use them, how to work on them, we'll be seeing that as we continue with the class. Then, when we talk about consistency, data consistency is a practice through which we are consistent in the way we use data, Okay, I will explain this better with this database template of a thing. So I'm expanding this. So when you talk about databases or template in Excel, Excel is very robust in the sense that it is used to create um, templates that we can use to keep our data. For example, let's look at this. This sample data is let's say this is a database for staff of the company. You can see we have the ID of the staff, the name of the staff, the age of each of the staff, the agenda, their occupation, their salaries. If you want to add marital status, you can just come to the next box here, type marital status, marital, and then you can add male, female, male, male, female, female, female. So, which means that the moment you see this sheet, you will know that we are referring to what? The employee of the company. And looking at the row, you can quickly identify this row is basically for what? For John. When we talk about data consistency, this is what we mean. Look at this column. This column is what? ID. Everything else is what? ID. If you see, let me say we have, instead of the 4, we have this here. We have this in this cell. When every other ones are numbers. Can you tell me if this is an error, a mistake or not? So you can see that this is not consistent with what we have in this column. The same thing here. We now see something like 12/1/2009 here. So we know that this is also what? A mistake. This column should be for name. So seeing something that is not their family here shows that the data is not consistent. Please, a minute, please. Okay. Now, so you can see that this is not it's no longer consistent. So you should note that when you are creating your databases or whatsoever. Here we have age. If you see female here, you know there's something wrong with that text, which is totally inconsistent with what we have in this case. Now, how do we create databases or create a template that you can use? Let's quickly look at a sales database. We have this one before. Let's look at a sales database. In your office, perhaps you've been keeping the record manually before. You have manual record where you input your information. Now you want to bring everything to Excel. What do? Just select a cell where you want to start the journey. Sometimes you may leave the first row, and if you like, you can use the first row. There's no rule about where to start your table. There's no rule about that. You can start from anywhere you like. But sometimes the more you grow in the use of Excel, you may decide to have some free space on the left, have something on the right to make it look fine, look whatsoever. Those are just addition. Now let's quickly create a sales template. A sales will have a date. We have a date for the sale. Then the sales may have invoice number. Just type invoice number. Then, or if it's too long, you can reduce it and make it like maybe invoice NO, capital I. Okay. Then what's the next one? Let's say we have the name of the customer. Then what does he come and buy? Let's call this one description. This is description of what the person has come and buy, or depend on the name you give to it in your office. Then what's the next thing we need? Let's say we talk about quantity. What is again? Let's talk about rate, and let's say amount. So as simple as this is a simple database where you can see information about your sales in the future. Now, when you are keeping this kind of data, sometimes you may want to put it, okay, let me quickly fill in with some information now. A minute, please. So, now, as this, let me quickly fill in with this date, 21 to 24. Let's see, invoice number is 200. The name of the person is Alade Sadiq. Then we'll have description. Let's say you just bought a printer. Quantity is 1. The rate is 12,000. And the amount is what? 12,000. Amount is 12,000. So we have the rate and we have the amount. So don't worry about this. We are going to talk about this later. I've not introduced any formula now, so I'm not going to bother us with what will be in this column, the formula that will be in this column, or maybe for the purpose of the class, when you are doing revision, you can still go back to that. Let's just quickly see how this one can work with formula. In Excel, when you are writing formula in Excel, we start with equals to. We start with what? Equals to, when you are working with formula in Excel. Let's quickly multiply the quantity and rate. Type equals to, then just select this. I click on this cell, multiply by this cell, and I hit OK. Now I have 12,000 here. Let me quickly change this one to 2. The quantity now is 2. What happened? Excel will automatically calculate this for me. If I change this to 10, Excel will automatically do what? Because this cell is no longer just 120,000, it's what? Is formula based. So if I change this to, if I click on this cell and I change this to 20,000, Excel will automatically do what? So which means that the next day, if you buy and you sell something else the second day, 22 02 2024, and invoice number now is 202. The name of the person buying this time around is Said Rebecca. That is the name of the person, and is buying what? Let's say this time around this guy is buying paper, and the rate of the paper is buying like maybe, let's say is buying like 5 cartons, and each of the carton is like 25,000. So what do we do? In this case, we just copy this formula. Instead of typing the formula every time, you can come to cell, click on copy, and here you type, right click again, or you use Ctrl V, paste. So it has multiplied this cell. When we get to referencing, you're going to see why this is like that. So now, the last thing I want us to learn here is how to format, how to create it as a table. After clicking on this, you can just press Ctrl T on your keyboard. Ctrl and T, that is Ctrl plus T, that is T for table. Click on Ctrl T. We're going to see this. Click on OK. Now you have it as a table, which means that by the time you continue, the table will keep expanding, 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 expanding. Let's say we have 23 to 24. The number is 203. The name, let's say Said came back again. And this time around is buying ink. And the ink is 1 unit. And the quantity is, let's say, 4,500. Can you notice that there is 0 here? We've not put formula here. When I click OK, because it's in table now, it has automatically, because of consistency, you already know that this place has to contain the same formula as above. So when we get to table design, we're going to explain more about that. That is a simple way of creating databases. We want to create a database. Okay, any question on that before we move on? Okay, Lionel, you asked a question. What effect does inconsistency data have on the databases? It will affect your report. It will make your report to look somehow. For example, here you have female. And how will you analyze your age with female? How do you explain how many people are here with dates in between? Under your numbers, you have females, or you have F here. How do you get average age when you have some inconsistent data within your data set? So when you have something that doesn't belong to the group, it will make your analysis to be faulty. Your report will be faulty. You won't get the right report as it should be. Is that okay, Lionel? Okay. Assuming data is large, when we get to data cleaning, there are ways by which you can do that. Or when we get to Power Query, there are ways by which you can do that. In this case now, look at this. In this case of ours now, when you click on this drop down, because this is a table already, if I click on this drop down, I can see everything under this place. Everything that we have here, we can see it here. So if I want to remove anything, I can uncheck this and click OK. Can you see? I uncheck this box and I hit OK. You can see that row is no longer in my analysis. Okay, I have this. I want to remove this, assuming we don't know the right one, but we know that this is wrong, and there's need for us to remove it. I can just quickly uncheck this particular X and click OK. So that's just a simple way, just one of the steps by which we can make sure that our data is clean. And you see now, just remove all those relevant from our database. Now we have a relatively clean data. Okay, now I have seen the database with this format you just did now with a different color. Is there an option to change the color of databases set to one taste? Yes, you can change your color. When you click on, because we are in table, the reason why we have color is because we have it in table. When you click on the table, when you click on that table that you created, look at the top, your bars at the top. Look at your ribbon at the top. You are going to see a design. Can you identify? Can you see that? A table design. Table design. Click on this table design. In your case, you may not have table design. You may have ordinary design. It depends on the Excel you are using. The name might not be the same name. Click on it, you can see all colors there. You can see different colors. You can see different colors. And if you click on this drop down again, you can see, and you come down here, you can change your style. You can clear the font and you can change color as you like. You can edit it the way you like. Is that okay, Lionel? So let me give everyone
Yeah,
2 minutes.
that's okay. Thank you.
Can you create that now, everyone? Try to create a kind of invoice register like this. Quickly create this, a kind of invoice register like this. Then the next thing I'm going to give you an assignment on this sheet. You're going to create, please note that, create an inventory template. Template that will have something like what I want in that template will include the date, the inventory, the description of the inventory. Let's say we'll have descriptions. That's the name of the item. Issued to or new purchase. Stroke new purchase. Then we have you have a column for opening balance. Opening balances. New stock issued out, and closing stock, closing stock, or closing balances, whichever way. Closing balance. Okay, closing stock. Let me use the same name. So you're going to create this as an assignment, and you input maybe 1 or 2 data into the template also. So if you are done, you have created this, let me know. So I'm going to leave this, I'm going to send this to you, or you can even copy it also. You can copy it, you can leave it open like this, you can write it down, create a template for this. Now, are you done? If you are done with this, with creation of sales table, please type yes in chat box. You are done with that, type done. Type done in the chat box. Just type done in chat box. If you have created your own, you have created, great, done. And there are Legbe. Thank you. Who else again is done? You're done. Okay, good. Now, let's now move to another sheet. That's about sorting. Let's talk about sorting now. Sorting. Sort. Sorting means arrangement in Excel or in data analysis. When you sort, it means you rearrange. You rearrange your data. For example, look at this, our staff data again. Sometimes we might decide that we want to arrange this by their occupation, or let me change this to department. I change it to department now. I want to arrange this thing by department. What do? I can just click on any of the cell in this department and I right click. When you right click, you see a long list here. You also see an option called sort. Click on this sort A to Z. Bam. See what happened? A, C, engineer, age. So if you have more than one, okay. So that is just a way by which you can sort. We have arranged it in A to Z, which is alphabetical order. Let's look at this also. I want to arrange by male and female. I can just click on any cell here, right click on this, and sort. In front of sort, you see sort A to Z or Z to A. Let's quickly use A to Z. Bam. You can see we have all female above, all male down. Yes, there's difference between they are not the same. When you talk about sorting, it's just rearrangement. When we go to filtering, I'm going to explain filter when we get to filtering. Amos, thank you. This is a simple way by which you can sort. Let me give you 2 seconds to do that, everyone. Select any of the cells. David, are you catching up? Is David still there? Yes, great. Mr. EGT or so. Are you there? Mr. EGT Menyi, yeah, I think I remember. EGT Menyi. Are you still there? Are you coping with it? With the class? Great. Madam Miriam, Madam Rashida, are you coping? My Oga, Madam Medinat, Madam Rebecca Obizesa, are you catching up? Sani Umar, Som Tochuku Miracle, Madam Tony Salami, are you catching up? Use chat box if you are catching up with us. Okay, great. So let's move to the next sheet. We talk about sorting. We just talk about sorting now. That's the simple way by which you can just sort. To sort, just use that simple method to do your sorting. No wahala. But sometimes you want to do more than just sorting. Sometimes you want to do more.